Alright guys, today I want to talk about rear wheel steer on the Traxxas Summit. This is the back, that's the front. Okay, so first things first, if you've been following along with the build series, this will be really easy. If you're just watching this video, you almost need to have a FlySky remote because it allows you to have an extra channel to run the rear wheel steer. And it handles all of the calculation, I guess, or whatever for the rear wheel steer, so you don't need any separate module. It's all handled in the radio. So that's pretty much essential for this project. So next, or first, I guess, I have a JX Servo. I'll put the link to the video and everything. I have the JX Servo just mounted in between the rear body mount. I trimmed off the top part here and I've lowered it to where I want my body and everything. And then I have a piece of aluminum angle iron, not angle iron, angle aluminum, I guess. And I've screwed it to the body posts on each side, and then I've cut a notch out, obviously, for the servo. So the servo rests in the aluminum, and then it's all, well, in this case, it's bolted all together. And the servo is bolted to the aluminum here, and then the aluminum is bolted to the body post. So that's just how I mounted the servo. Then I have an aluminum arm on here, and I bought a pair of rod ends or whatever this is called. I believe the number is Traxxas 1942, and I have a long threaded rod connecting them, and that is from a pack of threaded rods called with part number 2537. It was about $3 and I just used the longest rod. So that's how it get the linkage, I guess. And then this is just a stock steering setup. So the number for that is 5344. It comes with everything you need except for bearings. There's two bearings on either side. I'll try and find out what those are and maybe put them in the description or something. And then these are the stock rods, just disconnected from their little holes back here, put on here. You have to thread them out a little bit, but that's fine. And then here, I'll have to relocate. Okay, there you can see I have the whole assembly, including this rear piece, which I think is a separate part number, which I'll look up. And this is the stock bumper mount, which I cut. So there you can see it goes from there to there. I just cut it. And I drilled a hole all the way through this little raised mount, through the bumper and into the body mount post, I guess. And then I took out the little rod that comes with the steering set, and I just used, I believe this is a 1024 or a 1032, doesn't matter, a number 10 size screw, and it goes all the way through. And then in between the steering and the kind of standoff mount, I just put a nut so the bearing isn't riding right on the plastic, and it just kind of helps space it. And then the screw goes all the way, so you can see all the way through into the plastic. So there's about an inch at least that's after the steering part, so it's anchored pretty securely. And then that's about it. Like, you'll have to trim it and set up your suspension and everything. And then since you sacrifice your rear bumper by cutting them out, I actually noticed that there's holes on the body mount that line up perfectly with the holes with these two holes in the bumper. So I just got some long screws, I'm not quite sure, maybe number 8. And then I just bolted them and then screwed them through. It's not the best solution because the bumper's still kind of twisty, but it's better than nothing. So that's what I did. It's an okay setup. Having it mounted back here isn't the best. Some of the negatives are the suspension changes, or the steering angles change with the suspension, which is not the best. And also, when you turn it, they don't quite turn evenly at the ends. This one's turned more than this one, but it's a pretty easy setup using stock parts, and there's not too much modification. The mechanical part's pretty easy. The technical part is a little bit more complicated. If you're just starting from a stock setup, you'll need to power this servo. I just have mine powered from a Beck. I have both my servos off of one Beck. I made a video on that. And if you have a stock remote, you'll have to get some sort of steering controller or something and free up an extra channel. I would just recommend going with the FlySky remote because it's pretty cheap and it's easy. So probably just as cheap as getting a 4-wheel steering controller. So yeah, that's how I did my 4-wheel steering. Maybe I'll put some clips at the end here of ripping around with it because it's pretty fun. But yeah, that's an easy way to install 4-wheel steering on your Traxxas Summit.